No, 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 no.
What's the matter?
I have a headache.
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
You're right, Mr. Kimball. It is not a tumor. No. This is. And that's the reason for your headache. Or at least that's the reason for mine. No, this is not a typo. This is not a fake movie review or a fake movie. This is a real movie. It came out this year in May. It is Kindergarten Cop 2. So, Kindergarten Cop is the sequel slash reboot of Kindergarten Cop, which came out in 1990. And now, 26 years later, we have Kindergarten Cop 2, and it's exactly what you'd expect a Kindergarten Cop movie to be. Just really bad. In this film, we have a totally new character who is actually an FBI agent, played by Dolph Lundgren. Now, in this film, information has been stolen. A list of all the people in witness protection has been hacked and stolen, and the person who has the data died in a car accident, and he was a teacher, a kindergarten teacher for this very prestigious school.
It's only the most prestigious elementary private school in the city. It's like $50,000 a year to go there.
$50,000.
And so now Dolph Lundgren's character has to pose as a kindergarten teacher, go undercover in the school, and find the data before some villainous person gets it before him.
Get me that drum!
Yes, sir. Sir.
You heard?
All right, you're right.
A villain that will use that data to, do really bad things. Now, growing up, I watched the original Kindergarten Cop with Arnold Schwarzenegger a lot, and I love it. Even watching it from more critical eyes and an older age, I still really enjoy the film. I think it's very easy to write off Kindergarten Cop 2 as a sequel that was decades after the original, and to see this movie as a soulless sequel slash reboot of the original. If you felt that way for Dumb and Dumber 2 and Zoolander 2, and there's probably been a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head that have that trend where it's years and years until the sequel is finally made. If you felt they were soulless reboots slash sequels, then I think you'll find Kindergarten Cop 2 a textbook soulless sequel. But I do have to say there are a few good things about it. For one, I did like Dolph Lundgren in this film. I feel that he did a decent job acting this type of character. It's a role that he's done before. Or at least I think he's done something like this before, because it feels like he would fit in this sort of take-no-nonsense sort of cop. And for the most part, he plays that sort of cop. He even wants to do things alone. He's like the lone wolf. He doesn't actually take advice from his partner many times throughout the film. And he's just that sort of hardened cop that doesn't really show a lot of emotions, which does seem perfect for this actor, and the actor does pretty well with it. I do have some issues with that, but that's later on in the review. I will say that the movie does have its charm from time to time, especially the fish out of water scenarios and the kids. There are a few moments in this film that I sort of enjoyed where he's trying to get a handle on the kids. He's a total fish out of water. He doesn't know what he's doing, and the kids are just walking all over him. He's simply not prepared for this type of undercover role.
Hi.
She peed on me.
Oh God, okay. Sophie, I'll get you cleaned up, sweetie. Hey guys, just keep coloring, okay? It's okay.
Now, is it anything laugh out loud, things that just made me rolling on the floor? Of course not. For me, it's nothing close to the original Kindergarten Cop. I also did enjoy some of the ways they tried to modernize the story by showing the things that go on in school nowadays, or at least the lessons and how the teacher implements their teaching and their disciplinary actions. It's well integrated into the story and how he deals with the kids. It feels modern day, and I do feel there is a little bit of satire involving some of the political correctness and some of the other stuff that other movies do tackle.
Second, this year we're renaming our holiday festival The Festival. in recognition of the agnostic members of our community.
So for the most part, I did feel fine with all that stuff in this movie, but it does try to take a jab at the original, I feel. Like, there's this one moment he finally decides, okay, I'm gonna take help from the partner, because the partner has kids of his own. He knows how to deal with kids, he knows how to deal with the school system and what they implement in their teachings, and their disciplinary actions and all that. And so he starts talking to Dolph Lundgren in an earpiece when he's trying to handle the kids.
Hey, hold on. We don't grab. I think you need a timeout.
What's a timeout?
Timeouts are so 90s, man.
We don't have timeouts.
We encourage our kids to share their feelings. And there are no wrong feelings. It's how they deal with them that matters.
And that whole little jab about it's not the 90s anymore, it does feel like, okay, that's a jab at Kindergarten Cop. Because Kindergarten Cop was 1990. Maybe that's just me overthinking it, but, I mean, he did specifically say the 1990s. He didn't say early 2000s. And I feel the fight scene with Dolph Lundgren and the main antagonist was handled pretty well. It was okay. It wasn't great, it wasn't phenomenal, it wasn't anything really good, it's okay, it's acceptable. And despite the movie being a sequel, having a lot of the same premise, and really having a lot of the same jokes within it, I do feel that Kindergarten Cop 2 does make it on its own just enough where it doesn't feel too much like a rehash. It implements enough of its own ideas to make it not feel like a complete reboot or a remake. And that is the only good things I can say about this movie. Now it's time to get to the negatives. For one, I think the film really is missing the heart that the original had. Yes, he does have a few situations with the kids, he does handle them in a way, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like there's a true connection or a bond that he has with the kids, like Arnold Schwarzenegger did in Kindergarten Cop. Yes, he helps them do a few different things, and he does a few situations, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like they really connect or really bond like they do in the first Kindergarten Cop. Also, I feel a lot of the kids aren't as memorable as the kids in Kindergarten Cop. Yes, these kids definitely have their own quirks, just like the original Kindergarten Cop. There's a young girl that has two moms.
I have two mommies, and they tell me I shouldn't trust boys.
There's the Asian kid that apparently needs subtitles because you can't understand what he says. Yeah, they literally have subtitles. At least the version I saw had subtitles just for him. I got it straight from Redbox. I got it for free, so unless that was just a total different setting that I had no idea about. I don't know, I haven't looked at the Netflix version yet. A boy that's allergic to peanuts and wears cowboy outfits and is called Cowboy. The kid with the glasses, I don't even remember what he does.
My sister has a vagina.
And then there's the little girl that is very similar to Zach in the first Kindergarten Cop, where she's getting abused. That is the only kids I can remember. And there's more kids, I just don't remember their quirks or what they do. But it's not just Dolph Lundgren and the kids that we're missing the connection with, we're also missing the connection of the romantic interest. Yeah, just like the first one, there is a romantic interest, and it's with one of the teachers in the school. This one happens to be the other kindergarten teacher. And they really make this one really important because there's a moment where we forget about the kids and it goes into a different subplot, it goes into the romance, and we get that for quite a few scenes, but there's no real magic, no real chemistry with the two of them. I feel there's chemistry with her, but because Dolph Lundgren is this cold character, this one character that actually is only interested in women for sex, and a lone wolf kind of guy, he sticks with that, and it feels a little emotionless. And yes, the movie does add enough to make it its own film, but at the same time, a lot of the things it adds is really generic. You get the generic subplot of two partners, one doesn't trust the other, he wants to be a lone wolf, the other one's trying to help him, but the lone wolf is being a jerk about it, and is like, no, I don't want any help. And so that jerk has a character arc where he's like, okay, I do admit I need help, and then they help each other. That's pretty much it to that subplot. You got the science teacher that's also jealous because he's in love with the kindergarten teacher, but Dolph Lundgren's getting her, and well, he tries to frame Dolph Lundgren, which results in a taser to the nuts scene.
Oh, I shot his nuts. Oh, please, make it stop. I don't know how.
Give it to me.
Breathe into the pain.
Yeah, just like the original Kindergarten Cop, there are scenes of the villain in this film, but it feels like the villain doesn't have a real personal stake to this. Yes, he wants that list of people that are under witness protection, and yes, he's gonna use that for evil purposes, but in the original Kindergarten Cop, it was a bad guy, a really serious criminal bad guy, that just wanted to get his son and kidnap his son and be with him. So there was more of a personal stake, and he was freaking nuts. And I think every scene that they show the bad guy at his home, I think it starts with the same music and these bikini-clad women coming out of the water. Because he's always outside in the swimming pool, or he's not in the pool, but the girls are, and he's like always cooking on the grill or something. And so it got really formulaic to the point where it was actually kind of funny. And one of the parts I really disliked about the film, one of the scenes that I just couldn't quite stand, and I don't know, it just felt so lifeless, was the date with Dolph Lundgren and the love interest, the other kindergarten teacher. So what is their date? Well, they do eat out, or eat at his trailer at one point. Yeah, he lives in a trailer. But no, they also go square dancing, which actually quite lifeless. I don't know why I had that feeling of it, but I think it was because the chemistry just wasn't there between the two characters. Not only has it lost the heart of Kindergarten Cop, I also feel it's lost the grit of Kindergarten Cop, because a lot of the sets are very clean, very pristine, and I understand, okay, most of that is in the school. The school is supposed to be expensive, it's supposed to be good looking and pristine, but there are times where it's too empty and too clean to the point where it feels like this isn't a real school. Even the police station, there's definitely sets that are just so empty and lifeless that it looks a little too movie setish. And I believe another example of the lost grit in the film is the action sequences. Yes, there are people that die. Yes, there is some shootouts and stuff like that. But the way it's shot, the way that it's handled, it almost doesn't feel like a PG-13 movie. It almost feels like this movie should be PG. I don't know, there's just action sequences in Kindergarten Cop that felt gritty, felt darker, felt better. This one feels too family friendly. And I have to say, I was alright with how they handled the abused kid in this film. Because the way that Dolph Lundgren's character handles it is how he learns how to be a teacher in the film itself.
Hold up. So I heard you got laid off from your job at the Times.
How'd you hear that?
I asked around. Look, I know what you're going through.
You don't know anything.
Yeah, I do. When I was in school, my dad got sick. And when he died, it hit me hard. And I dropped out. I didn't think things would get any better. But then one day I woke up, and I just felt I had a lot more to give. I got a job. Turned things around.
Well, I've looked for a job, okay? Nobody wants to hire a middle-aged salesman.
I know some people. Let me ask around for you.
Will you do that for me?
Do that for Molly. All I ask is don't take it out on your family. Molly loves you. She needs you to step up and be her dad.
He doesn't take the Arnold Schwarzenegger approach where he just punches him. But the one moment I just lost it, and I just couldn't believe what I was watching, was towards the final act of the film. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail, but just in case, spoiler alert. Okay, there's a moment towards the climax of the film where the bad guys have their guns pointed at our heroes, our Dolph Lundgren, the other kindergarten teacher, and surprisingly the computer and science teacher that's jealous of the two of them. Because the class is on a field trip to bury their time capsule. And during this moment where the bad guys have their guns aimed, they have the heroes cornered, suddenly it's the kids that save the day. The class of kindergarten students run up to the armed men, start beating him, and kind of win. These are armed villains, criminals, probably would have no qualms shooting kids, and they get beat by a bunch of kindergarten students. I know it's a family-friendly film, but that's way too family-friendly. But for the most part, I felt that the movie was a little bland, a little generic, and a little too boring for my taste. And so I'm going to give Kindergarten Cop 2 1 star. I know it's still a star, at least, but it's a bad movie, in my opinion. So have you seen Kindergarten Cop 2? Have you even heard of it? What did you think if you've seen it? Go ahead and comment below. If you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and check out my movie reviews of 2015 and 2016. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.